What's up? It's Blacks and B Raging, and welcome back from. I said from. Why did I say from? All right, restart, cut. It's Blacks and B Raging here, and welcome back. Mere moments after my recording of the Call of Duty, and today I want to show off you guys something that has just taken over my heart with all its love, because it's such a great armor system, armor gear set. There we go. I'm messing up my words and all this nonsense and BS. And that is, we're gonna be looking at my one of my new go-to builds. My other build was the Plague of the Outcast build, which is what, you know, it's an armor based build and whatnot. But this one's a lot different because the main focus here is damage. As you can see, the circle is mostly all red, 8 reds, 8 red secondary attributes, and for the main core attribute, I have 6 because it's 6 armor pieces. Duh. So yeah, this build, if you're looking for armor, you can, like, you know, re-roll some of these pieces for armor, but I'm going for mostly damage. Other than the exotic, because right now the only thing you can do with exotics is reconfigure them, which is like randomly re-rolling the stats to see if you get lucky for a god roll. Good luck with that. But yeah, so let's get into it. So as you can clearly see, I'm running Demolitionist because of the critical hit chance attachment of 7%. So before we get into it, main thing here is damage and critical hit damage. And I'll go into, like, you know, some of the other things that, you know, I tend to do or run with this. So the main thing here you're going to need is Negotiator's Dilemma and Coyote's Mask. Now, since I'm running the Sokolov Concern Gloves right now, so it's mostly for SMG base, but I do have an assault rifle as my secondary, because sometimes I do switch out the book bag of negotiators, which, by the way, this increases hostile negotiations, which is that when you get 4 armor pieces of it, it increases that damage from 60 to 100%. But, you know, I don't have it on me right now. I think it's in my stash. I usually run another book bag, Fenris book bag with Composure, because, you know, you're going to want to stay in cover, since, you know, I don't have a lot of armor. Mine is at 714, and that's because of, like, you know, the Keener's Watch upgrades. But if it's just armor and you don't have any of those upgrades, then you're going to be at like 696, around 696 for armor. So you're really going to want to re-roll some of those pieces with armor on them. At least one I recommend, because that should bring you up to like at least close to 800 armor. So yeah, I swap it out for that. But this gear set, Negotiator and Coyote's Mask, you're gonna need. Now, Coyote's Mask, if you have the NYC DLC, I don't know if it drops outside of it if you don't have it. I'm not sure about that, but please leave a comment in the description below about that. But you can acquire this mask from the season rank, which you get after you beat the New York DLC. So I'm gonna go on my rewards track, and I believe you get it around level 30. Yeah, it's level 35 is when you get Coyote's Mask gear piece. So this is the only way I really know that you can get it. I haven't got it to drop at a mask allocated loot area, but I'll play it and see if it drops. If it drops, then I'll leave it in the comments, you know, hey, this by the way drops, you know, at these locations, and it should drop. So to go into Coyote's mask of why I'm running it, and my battery is running low, so let me just put the wire in. Let me hardwire it, not like the gear set. So my bad. So for Coyote's mask, as you can see, the talent is Pack Instincts. But before we go into that, as you can see, I have mine's rolled with, you know, critical hit chance and critical hit damage. So I was pretty lucky, but I do want to see if I can re-roll it. But I want to find another one just in case it won't, you know, just before I re-roll this one, I do want to find another Coyote's mask. And for my mod slot, it has an offensive mod slot. I have 11.4% critical hit damage. So on this piece alone, I have 20.9, almost 21% critical hit damage on this piece. But actually, that's just if we're looking at the attributes. Now for the talent, if you're within one of those three distance zones, you get a certain buff. So 0 to 15, which is really good for subs, you get plus 25% critical hit damage, and my critical hit chance is pretty high anyway. 15 to 25, which is like, you know, assault rifle, LMG, you know, that range, you get 10% critical hit damage and 10% critical hit chance. If you're outside of that, where you're running like, oh my god, this wire keeps coming out. If you're in 25 meters plus, which is like rifle range and marksman rifle range, then you will get the 25% critical hit chance. So as you can see, I'm mostly using it for the first two distance buffs. Now for negotiators, negotiators, the way I see it, it has a hybrid avenue and it has two other avenues that you can go for. So as you can see here, the perks. At 2 pieces, you get 15% critical hit chance. 20% you get critical hit at, I said at 20%. My bad, cut, re-roll it. Okay, at 3 pieces, you get 20% critical hit chance. And at 4 pieces, that's when you get the actual perk, the hostile negotiations. So critical hits mark enemies for 20 seconds, up to 3 marks. But since I have the chest piece, it goes to 5. So instead of 3, it's 5. When you critically hit a marked enemy...
Incoming backup request.
Really? Chill with your backup requests. I'm trying to educate the people on my build. When you critically hit a marked enemy, all other marked enemies take 60% of damage dealt. Or if you have the book bag piece of negotiators, which I do, it's 100%. So the same damage you deal to one marked enemy is going to be the same amount dealt to the other enemy. It won't be like 60%. And here's the part that I'm using it for. Whenever a marked enemy dies, you gain 2% critical hit damage, stacking up to 20 times. So I'm tired of this wire. This wire is screwing up the commentary. So as you can see here, that's what, 40% critical hit damage at max stacks that you can get, in addition to what your critical hit damage already is. So as you can see, if we go to my stats, I'm at 50% critical hit chance. My critical hit damage is 118.6%. So now, where's my trusty phone? Because it's late at night and I cannot calculate this off the top of my head. My phone's dead. Wow, okay, so that's cool. Everything is dead. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go on my trusty computer here and pull up a calculator. And you guys are gonna see how much critical hit damage that I'm gonna be doing, as far as in the right circumstances. And that distance buff is based on the distance of the last enemy you killed, and it also falls into a support. Yeah, a support kind of exotic too, because if you're playing with teammates, they will get those buffs as well. All right, so now that my trusty calculator is opening, all right, so let's say, since this is a submachine gun build, let's use the 25% critical hit damage. And plus we're going to add in that 40% at max stacks. So if we go to our stats, we're at 118 just with attributes and all that. So 118, whoops. So 118.6, and then plus that 25%, so that's, good lord, that means my critical hit damage will boost up. With that 25% alone, is going to boost up to 148.25%, or to round it off, 148.3% of critical hit damage. Now we're factoring the negotiators, so usually you're gonna be able to build up, I'd say, depending on the battle, probably about, it's actually probably about half. You'd be able to, like 25% to a half, you'll be able to build up. But let's, for that sake, we're going on the low end. So let's say you're able to build like 5 stacks. So 10% of that critical hit. So 10%. So we're adding in that plus 10%, and when we enter it, that means on the low end, because usually the enemies are like in groups of 5 or 4, so that's why I went with about a quarter. You're gonna have 160, because it's 163.075, so we round it up, so 163.1 critical hit damage. Now if we're going on the high end of the spectrum, so let's clear it. 148. Now the 148.3 is when you factor in the coyotes. So 0.3. Now let's say you're like in a raid or something and you're able to build up those maximum stacks. So that means 148.3 plus 40%, because remember, the max stacks that you can have on this is Remember, 20 times, and it's 2% per stack. So that's 40% at max. So plus 40%. That means that your critical hit damage is 207.6%. And that's just off your armor alone. I'm not even factoring in the talent that I'm using on my weapons, which I'm going to get into that right now. What a great segue. Now, the thing that I like to run usually is strained. So you gain 10% critical hit damage for every 0.5 seconds you're firing. So every half second you get critical hit damage. So that means, in addition to that 207, if I'm at max stacks, 163 on the low end, I'm getting an extra 10%. So even if you're on the low end of 163.1%, that's a lot of critical hit damage that you're getting. And especially if you have so as you can see, very, 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 very powerful build, especially when you're running submachine guns. And also with submachine guns, their secondary core trait is critical hit chance. So if you can get one that's max rolled, which is 21%, 21%, then you have your 60% critical hit chance. Because critical hit chance caps off at 60%, so you can't really get anything higher. You can't get anything higher than that. So as you can see, critical hit damage is really, really high on this build, and this is why I love negotiators, because you find that on higher level difficulties you're gonna melt through everything. And it's also good to have something that has like repair skills. So this this Antumbra backpack from Grupo, I tend to switch it out for this as well. But it's on higher level difficulties when I swap it out, because I need to heal since it's all damage. So you're gonna need something that'll give you like really good heals, and this repair skills is maxed out. So you're gonna need something to give you a lot of your health back. So yeah, really, really, really good, great build. That I want to just hammer out a little bit more, because I do want to I mostly go for subs. Oh my god, this freaking, because I do would like to have these gloves max rolled at least. Or since I'm running a demolitionist, which is really good because of the critical hit chance attachment that it gets when you spec into submachine guns. So subs is the clear way to go. And plus subs they don't got the range, and they're not really as accurate as like other weapons, but if you have something like safely distance or anything that has like the outsider trait, that'll help you out a lot. But that's why you just run a assault rifle or something on the secondary side. But yeah, it's also another thing you can do is, since this is based on the demolitionist tree, so yeah, you can also use China Light for the explosive damage, which I was running before I put Sokolov on, because I also run the demolitionist turret. So we're gonna go test it out. As you can see, I have my global settings on hard. So we're gonna change it to challenging. So we change it to challenging. That's a regular red enemy. As you can see, my DPS is clocking in at over 2 million damage. It was just at 2 million, but you know. No! Oh my, wow, it cut off on me.
Are you crazy? That shit is so disrespectful.
Can y'all believe that?
Press X to start.
My joint just cut off on me. That's crazy. But anyway, I pretty much got to show you what I wanted from this build. I'm still trying to hammer it out, you know, perfect it. And you know, I'll be back with another update video on how, you know, the build is going. If you want to try it out, I really do recommend it. The only setback with it is that it's all damage. If you want to get the most out of it and have that melting and melt enemies like butter. And I recommend spec, if you have the watch, the New York DLC, and you beat it, spec as much as you can into total armor, because you're really gonna need it when you're playing on those higher difficulties. Try to get something that's rolled with, you know, a high amount of repair skills, because like I said, you're gonna really need that heal. Or if you're playing with people, make sure somebody's at least running, like, you know, a tardigrade exotic chest piece, or just something to heal, to like keep you alive and heal off of you. Well, I said heal off of you. To heal you, there we go. But yeah, remember, rage out and peace out. And speaking of out, I'm out. See y'all later, and see y'all on the next one.